Hope everyone's doing well today. So I'm just going to kind of go over the syllabus for quantitative reasoning CoREC, and then I'll also go into a little bit of a recitation lesson, so it'll help you with the homework that you'll have over the week. So like I said, this is the quantitative reasoning CoREC for fall 2020. I do need to update a few things on here, so I'll update that as soon as I get home today. So this class will be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 1:50. This will be in the library classrooms in room 127. So as you're walking in, I believe it's the second door on the left. Okay. The delivery method, so the way that we're actually going to teach this class is it's going to be blended. So you're going to have an online and an in-class component. So the online component's where you're going to do your quizzes, you're going to do all your homework, the lecture videos are already posted there. And then the in-class portion, so for Tuesdays and Thursdays, will be from 1 to 1:50. And this is going to be kind of like your recitation class. So I'll go over a few examples and I'll answer any questions that you have about this class, or any questions, math questions that you have in your actual quantitative reasoning class. Okay? So this there's 2 credit hours here. And one thing that you'll want to know is right here, this email. So this is my email at MTC. So the best way to reach me, and I usually try to get back within 24 hours, but it might be sooner than that, is elwarem@mtc.edu. Usually for my office hours, I'm actually doing it through Zoom. So if you want to schedule an office visit, feel free to just email me, and we can set up a time that works for you. The only 2 days that I'm really busy is Tuesdays and Thursdays. But any other day, even weekends, should work for me. So I can usually get to you during the day or even in the evening. Okay? So the purpose of this course is to help you pass your quantitative reasoning. So if you want to think about it, it's reviewing some things that you may have some trouble with, or maybe you already know, but maybe just need a little refresher with. And it's also taking concurrently with quantitative reasoning. Right, so I can help you if you have any questions. This is the same textbook that you'll be using in your quantitative reasoning class. You won't need the textbook in this class. All the lecture videos and everything should be sufficient. All right, so for the next page, this is going to be the most important thing in the syllabus. So this is the course outline. This is what we're doing each week, and this is what to do each week. So chapter 1's due at the end of this week, chapter 2 at the end of next week, and so on all the way down. There will be homework and quizzes each week, except for a few of them, like when we have the midterm review. I'll do a midterm review in class and also stream it through Zoom for you. So basically what that is I'll get some questions and stuff from my instructor. So there's a few more things like week 8, week 14 that we won't have classes, but we'll keep you updated, and it'll still be a midterm review and then the final review. Okay. So you might be wondering, we have like some exam weeks to be determined date and times. So those will still be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 1:50. And it's the same thing. We're going to help review for your quantitative reasoning exam. So this class only has quizzes and homework, and we just help you prep for your exam in your quantitative reasoning class. So there is no midterms and there is no exams in this co-requisite. And then keep continuing on. This is our grading scale. Just a normal grading scale. The final grade, it looks like your homework's 40%, quizzes are 40%, and then participation is 20%. So your participation, basically what that is just making sure that you're actively doing your homework online, which is also how I'll keep attendance. As long as you're doing your homework online, if you've attempted it for the week, you'll get credit for both days for being here. Okay? So these recitations are optional, but I definitely think that you should come. It's definitely a good experience, and it's going to be very helpful to make sure that you pass your QR class. Okay? And I'll let you read through the rest of the syllabus on your own. It's just some things that you're going to see in every class, your competencies, device use, how much you should study for however many credit hours you have, talking about, plagiarism, financial aid, and stuff like that. Okay? And then the next thing I want to talk about today is just going to be a little bit of terms and a little bit of information that's going to be helpful on your homework and quizzes this week. So the first thing I want to talk about is we're going to talk about the different types of numbers. So the first number, or the first set of numbers that I'm going to talk about are called the natural numbers. And I'm going to write that right in the middle. So your natural numbers, all they are just your counting numbers starting at 1. So you start at 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? So those are all your natural numbers. So 1 counting all the way up to infinity, okay? Those are your natural numbers. And then your next set are going to be your whole numbers. So your whole numbers. And it is the exact same thing as the natural numbers, but we start at 0. So your whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, and so on, all the way up to infinity. Okay? So I'm going to draw a bigger box. You can see that as we go on here, your whole numbers include all your natural numbers, right? Because we start at 1 here, and we start at 1 right there, right? So this whole numbers is just a little bit bigger because we have 0 now. Okay? Okay, so then the next one that we'll move on to, the next bigger circle, is going to be your integers. So your integers are your negative numbers. So -1, negative 2, and so on that way. And then 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, and so on. Right? So your integers include all your whole numbers, and now we have all the negatives as well. Okay, so for your next circle, all the way around, so your next circle, we have the rational numbers. And all the rational numbers is they include all the fractions now. So maybe we have a -2/5. We could have a positive 2/5. We can still have our whole numbers, so we can still have -1, 0, 2, so on, right? So we can still have all those that are included in here. And then we also might have something like this where we start getting into decimals. So what if we have 0.7 and then I put a bar over it? So all this bar means is that it's repeating. So this 0.7, it's 0.7777 and so on. So this can be expressed as a fraction. So this is the same thing as 7/9. And since we can express it as a fraction, we say that it's a rational number. So a rational number is any number that we can express as a fraction where the top and the bottom are whole numbers. Okay? So if we have a repeating decimal where it repeats the same thing over and over again, that's a rational number. If we have something like maybe 0.4, well, that's the same thing as 4/10, right? 4/10. So we can express it as a fraction where it's one whole number over another one, so it's rational. And that's about all the rationals, right? So it's just anything that can be expressed as a fraction as one whole number over another whole number. Okay, and then we go into another thing. Let's see, I'm going to put it down here. And the reason I'm putting it down here is because it doesn't include everything up here. So this is by itself. This is your irrational numbers. In your irrational numbers, you can think of it something like the square root of 2, the square root of 3, pi, right? So that's what, 3.14 and so on. Right? So 3.14 and a bunch of other numbers. Okay? Another one you might be familiar with is the E, that's Euler's number, and that's like 2.7 something, right? And that goes on and on forever. So your irrational numbers are numbers that are non-terminating, so basically they go on and on forever, and they're also non-repeating, so we don't repeat the exact same thing over and over again. Okay? So these numbers can't be expressed, as something like this, like a fraction, right? A fraction of whole numbers. So they can't be expressed as like, 7/9 or 21/7. I know that's a good approximation of pi, but it's not the exact same number, right? So they can't be expressed as a fraction. Okay. And then we have one more, which I'm just going to show as the whole page. So all the numbers that we talked about before, all your irrational numbers down here, everything you see on this page, we call that the real numbers. So this whole page is the real numbers. All your natural, whole, integers, rationals, and irrational numbers. Everything you see here are all real numbers. So basically any number you can think of is a real number. Okay, so that takes care of most of the homework here, but we have a little bit more to do. So my last part here, this is going to be your inequality symbols. So you will see this. Your inequality symbols. Okay. So your inequality symbols, there's 4 different ones. So I will just write those down. These are your inequality symbols. And basically what they mean, this one just means that some number is less than another number. So this symbol is the less than symbol. This number is your greater than symbol. This number is less than or equal to number. So less than or equal to. And then finally, this one's your greater than or equal to. Okay. So for your less than, as an example, I could say that the number 3, and I'm going to say that's less than. So if 3 is less than some number, we have to think of a number greater than 3. So maybe we'll put 4 there. Okay? So that says 3 is less than 4 in words. So 3 is less than 4. And we can say that's a true statement, right? So this is a true statement because 4 is definitely a bigger number than 3. So 3 is definitely less than 4. So this is a true statement. So if we wanted to look at a false statement, maybe we just flip it. So we say 4 is less than 3, right? But that's not true, right? 4 is greater than 3. So 4 is not less than 3. So this is a false statement. So the number on the left is bigger than the number on the right. Okay, so what if I flip this sign and say that 4 is greater than 3? Well, that's a true statement, right? 4 is definitely bigger than 3. So this is a true statement. And then we can say, how we would say this in words is 4 is greater than 3. Okay. And then we can look at the next two, right? So we have a less than or equal to and a greater than or equal to. So we're going to use the exact same signs, but now we put one bar under each one, right? So I can say that 3 is less than or equal to 4. The 3 is less than or equal to 4, right? Which is a true statement. So if you can tell, or maybe you can tell already, so this less than or equal to basically is the same thing as this, but now we can include 4 as well, right? So for this example specifically. So we can also say 4 is less than or equal to 4, right? So it's true in this case because we have that equal sign below, right? So 4 is less than or equal to 4, right? Which is a true statement as well. Okay. And then we could also flip this and say that 4 is greater than or equal to 3, right? So 4 is greater than or equal to 3, which is a true statement. And then we could also say that 4 is greater than or equal to 4, right? Because 4 equals 4. Okay. So that's your inequality symbols for the homework that you're going to be doing over the next week. Okay, so for anybody watching this, your next day in class will be this Thursday from 1 to 1:50 p.m. We're in the library classroom 127. Okay. And then I'll also be setting up a live Zoom meeting as well. So you can watch this online if you didn't want to come into class. And I'll post that as an announcement. I'll do it Thursday morning just to make sure that the Zoom meeting address is correct. So I'll post an announcement. And I'll probably do it, expect it to happen around 12:50 or 12:55. So I'll post an announcement. It's just a Zoom meeting. And it'll basically just be this. And I can answer any questions you have. I can go over more examples and stuff like that. Okay? So I'll post a Zoom meeting on Thursday. In the meantime, if you do have any questions, you can reach me by email. So it's elwarem@mtc.edu. And I know my handwriting isn't the greatest, so you can always check on the syllabus as well. And it's on there on that first page.